All right, good morning. Is this Mr. Rushing? Oh, no. There you go. Sir, would you introduce yourself, tell us your name and give your C number, please.
Nicholas Rushing, 560596.
Yes, sir, Mr. Rushing, my name is Cheryl Renanza. I'm serving as chairman of the parole panel this morning. Seated to my left, Mr. Alvin Roche, to my right is Mr. Pete Freeman. Did Mr. Rushing have some guests at this time?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let me ask, I don't have the list, so if y'all could advise who they are, so I can record it.
Introduce yourself.
Cynthia Walters, his mom.
Thomas Ray Rushing, and Dad.
Okay, well, thank y'all, and I'm assuming one or both of you will speak.
Don't want to speak.
The other can.
All right, well, we'll allow each of you 3 minutes if you decide you want to say something on his behalf. We'll call on you at the appropriate time to do so. First, I'll read some identifying information, Mr. Rushing record. I'll ask you to confirm it, and then I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Roche. Your case has been assigned to him this morning. He'll take the lead on the interview, then we'll hear from the warden and the doctor, and then we'll allow your parents to speak if they wish to do so. At the end, you'll be allowed to statement. So, Mr. Rushing, you are classified as a fourth felony offender with current serving a 50-year sentence for aggravated second-degree battery conviction in East Baton Rouge, for which you received a 15-year sentence. You also have in Franklin Parish a sentencing date in June 2014 for contraband, for which it looks like you received a 90-day sentence. Your parole eligibility date was July 1st, 2017. Good time date is October 18, 2024, and full term is February 14, 2025. Does all that sound accurate?
To the best of my knowledge, yes, ma'am.
All right. Would you answer Mr. Roche's questions, please?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Good morning, Mr. Rushing.
Morning, sir.
Mr. Rushing, how are you feeling today?
A little nervous, but other than that, I'm okay.
Mr. Rushing, you're 42 years old.
Sir?
You're currently 42 years old, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you are a fourth felony offender.
Up until May 19th of last year, I was only a second offender. And then,
Your master record says fourth.
yes, sir, I understand. They sent me a new rap sheet last year, and somehow or another, it went from 2 to 4.
And you're presently serving a 15-year sentence, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you've already served 13 years of that 15 years, am I correct?
Yes, sir.
And is it your understanding that you before this town this morning did a medical parole, is that correct?
Can you repeat that, sir? It kind of skipped a little bit.
It is your understanding that you're sitting before this panel, seek a medical parole.
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, now, let's start off. Dr. Petrie, can you give us an update? I looked at the video you made in December. Can you give us an update on these conditions?
Yeah, yes, sir. Well, let me just give you a little background history. It's basically a young man, pretty good health up until around August. He was having some GI problems. He was diagnosed with adenocarcinoma. He had surgery, and it was termed mucinous carcinomatous, which means that it is spread throughout his whole GI tract. He underwent surgery for that, then he started chemotherapy. He was doing fairly well. However, at the time of his diagnosis, he's considered stage 4. And in discussion with his oncologist in New Orleans, he's being followed by Tulane Oncology Clinic in New Orleans. They're overseeing his chemotherapy. He's also followed by colorectal surgery, he did his surgeries. And now he's also seeing general surgery, which I'll get to in a minute, but he was tolerating the treatment fairly well. He was actually living out on the compound, and he started having some abdominal pain in December. Well, just before that, in consultation with his oncologist at Tulane, being he was stage 4, he had a 5-year survival rate of 14%. Since that time, now that was back in early November, since that time, he started having some acute abdominal pain. I can't remember what he told me he thought it was, but I was sitting back to the hospital, and it turns out he had perforated through his intestines and had an abdominal ulcer. They had to do another surgery, a lot of washouts and all that stuff. He actually recovered from that fairly well, but that postponed his chemotherapy for about a month. Now he resumed his chemotherapy, and I think he just finished cycle 5, but he's developed a large ventral hernia from all the surgeries, and it's causing him some problems with his bowel movements. And he wants to get that fixed. Colorectal surgery just saw him, and they said there's basically nothing else they can do. They'll follow him up in the year. He's still here. And he's going to be scheduled for a ventral hernia repair shortly. They've already, I think, put him on the schedule, but they haven't given us a date yet. So that's where we're at. His disease is progressing.
I know that he's on level 4 for all of and basically he does everything for himself at this stage. Am I correct?
Sir?
I noticed that he's on level 4 as far as taking care of himself. So he's doing everything on his own right now. Is that correct?
He's pretty independent. He's on a lot of narcotic stuff. His pain is getting worse, which he thinks it's from the hernia. I suspect that it's from the cancer tumor, but it doesn't really matter. He's taking MS Contin twice a day, and he's got Norco for breakthrough pain. And he can't go long without it.
What is the diagnosis, Dr. Petrie?
I'm not an expert oncologist, but he's been undergoing therapy, and it may be slowing down the progression, but this is a terminal illness. And I would say probably because he was in good health at the time of his diagnosis, he may have 2 years at the most, maybe 3, barring some miracle.
Thank you, Mr. Russian. You've served 13 years and 10 years. I have one concern. In 2021, he had 5 or 6 major write-ups. Tell me exactly why your disciplinary conduct is so bad.
In 2021, I was at the Quincy work release, and I wasn't actually work release. They had me as an orderly status. And at the time, I had some contraband write-ups, and I had an intoxication write-up that they wrote me up because I was watching TV late night one night in the TV room, fell asleep. I asked them to do a drug screen on me to prove the intoxication. They never did a drug screen. The contraband write-ups was for tattoo equipment. I was merely trying to support myself, and I understand it was wrong, and there's no excuse for it, but that's the gist of it, sir.
Back at Quincy work release, but you never had a work release job.
Before then, but at that time, I was just an orderly status.
Why did you get from the transition work program?
they said that they caught me and a girl messing around at the job, and I told them to review the camera footage. That wasn't the case, and they apparently never reviewed the footage, or they did, because they said they were gonna write me up for it, and I never got a write-up on it.
Madam Chairman,
Mr. Frank,
What about the other two contraband write-up? 8/12/21 and 10/3/21. What was that about?
Same thing, tattoo equipment.
Okay, so all of your contraband was tattoo.
Except for the 2014 one. And that was a cell phone. They did a random shakedown in the dorm, and somebody slid a cell phone from the back of the dorm, and it ricocheted off some legs of the beds, and I slept on the top rack, and they asked me, you know, whose phone is it? And I said, I have no idea. They said, well, we found it by your rack, and therefore it's yours.
Correct. Okay, that's all I have.
thank you. So, Warden, is there anything you want to add?
Yes, ma'am, you know, he's only been here a short while, you know, he was sitting here for his health. He's been no problems here. He's, you know, cooperative, no disciplinary issues.
So now we'll listen to, your parents. Walters, would you like to, say a few words on behalf of Nicholas? You can step up and see like, good, thank you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. I feel my son has done his time. And with him having stage 4 cancer, that we would, you know, love to have him home to spend the rest of his time with his family.
Good, thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. Mr. Russian,
I just want him to come home.
and he will be living with you, Holden? Is it Holden? All right, Nicholas, is there anything you'd like to say to us before we vote?
Yes, ma'am. I realized what I did in the past was wrong. No excuse for it. But over these past 13 years, I've learned the value of a good work ethic and doing right. And I have 6 children out there that I would love to make up time with that I've missed all these years. And they, you know, we built a relationship over the past, you know, few years over the phone and some visits. And I just like to spend the rest of the time I have left being a good father to them.
All right, I think we're ready to vote. Mr. Roche will be voting first.
thank you, Madam Chairman. Mr. Rushing, based upon you serving 13 years of a 50-year sentence, based upon the information I received from Dr. Petrie, the medical director, I'm going to grant a medical parole under the following conditions. You are to be restricted to your father's home, all except for medical treatment and doctor's appointment. You are to be restricted to your father's home. The only exception is medical treatment and or doctor's appointment. The second condition is that you must comply with any other condition ordered by your parole officer. Good luck.
Mr.
Thank you,
Freeman?
sir.
I concur with Mr. Roche under the same condition.
And Mr. Russian, I do also vote for the medical parole, to break the medical parole with the same special conditions.
Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you, ma'am.
Right.